Here's to the last leg of my Euro trip this summer as I wait to board my plane to Lisbon because I'm okay being the last person to board a plane and I just didn't have a rush to be anywhere. So my first night was spent eating a very sad pizza, but sitting there I realized this is where I go back to being on my own. Actually solo traveling, and it's actually more lonely than you think it is. So I always kept this feeling in mind when I am meeting other travelers because they're also so willing to share their experiences just to have that human interaction. Yes, I'm here by myself, which is okay, but this Lisbon is the last stop driving, and I just wanted to come because why not? Lisbon was one of those places that I had absolute no expectations for. A place that I went out of spontaneity and didn't expect anything from it. So every single conversation and adventure and every single exploration I did of the city came as a surprise. And Lisbon is beautiful and I just didn't expect that from it. Did I order sangria for myself, by myself? I sure did, because your girl loves sangria. So that is little old me enjoying a little awkward drink. And is she having a moment? That could be debated. This was the one and only night that I went out in Lisbon, following Mr. Banana Man with the yellow umbrella, Rodrigo, who did not like that I called him a banana because he said it made him feel weak. But this was one of the largest pub crawls that I did in Europe, and we ended up going to 3 to 4 pubs. And I definitely recommend pub crawls if you want to meet other solo travelers and just looking for other people to hang out with for the night. So I decided to go to the beaches in Lisbon, and it was super crowded. Getting a ticket felt like ages, but I ended up getting on the train somehow. But I also got stuck behind the gate to exit the station, and thank you to the kind man who swiped his card to let me through. And at this moment, I wished I was like the 2 girls in front of me, having a friend to go to the beach. Because I was not going to risk going into the water and leaving all my stuff behind. So I decided just to take a nap in the sand, and I'm not complaining. And so as I left the beach, I got a really cool view of the Lisbon Bridge, which is very similar to the Golden Gate Bridge. But this day was casually beautiful. I had nowhere to be, nowhere to go, and I was also exhausted and sun-drained and honestly just kind of going with the flow. And so this was my last exploration before I left Lisbon and headed out the same night. So that is a goodbye to Lisbon for now. Welcome to part of the story where I find my way back home with my broken glasses that I've been wearing for all of my travels in Europe. Getting back home was a little chaotic, especially at the point where I finally got into New York City, into JFK, and I failed to realize that I had to get to another airport. And so that consisted of getting on the subway as a, I guess, tourist who doesn't know how to use the subway, and then onto a bus, but I failed to realize that I had to pay in cash for the bus. And so I missed the bus the first time around, and the second time around I got into like a closed bank and was able to like unpack my backpack and find where I kept my American cash that I did not use the entire summer. And with all that chaos, I finally got to the other airport and on to my flight back to New Orleans. And at this point, I was super exhausted and actually missing home. And so I was heading back with some unforgettable memories, and the rest of the summer was spent at home.